You know, they tell the story of the Yid that came to his Rebbe. He is of tzoros, and he has no parnosa, and he has children in the home that he can't marry them off. What should he do? The Rebbe said, go home, and the next time Rish Chodesh, you should daven with a full kavanah. And when you say Ona Hashem, you should say it with the full kavanah. And the fellow went home, and it was Rish Chodesh. He went to the mikveh, and he put on the gartel. And when it came to Ona Hashem Mashiach, Ona Hashem vhatzlacha, the whole shul was shaking. Yeah. Oh no! Nothing happened. One chodesh, another chodesh, another chodesh. Went back to the Rebbe. And he said, did you do what I told you? He said, yeah, the whole base medrash is falling apart when I was saying Ona. Which Ona? Ona Hashem vhatzlacha. No, that's not what I meant. I meant Ona Hashem ki ani avdecha. So here there is a moededike talk, a sicha, and if you learn like the history, sometimes you see the history of a sicha. There was a chesh from Toshimem Hey, the Rebbe Yechidus, the sons of the Lulav Rebbe. So one of the sons told him a word for the Moshe, the second Lulav Rebbe, that he said that there's, what's the difference of brocha and vhatzlacha? That vhatzlacha is one thing, brocha is bigger. Brocha is bigger than vhatzlacha.
So you should say vhatzlacha and brocha.
You got it. The Rebbe listened to the whole Torah till the end, and then the Rebbe said, okay, so you come in Bnei Eretz Yisrael, so be mamshach the brocha. The Rebbe smiled. Very nice. Then the Rebbe said, to me this is a big pella. I always thought it's the other way around. Brocha is the smaller thing, and vhatzlacha is the bigger thing. The Rebbe said to the Rebbe Pashat, by Yaakov Avinu, what happened? He moves his hand. So then, what did Yosef? Yosef was upset about it, right? He said that the bechor, you should put your right hand. So he said, I know my son, but there's going to be the descendants, that the descendants of the younger one will be greater. So give a brocha, the descendants of the older one will be greater. So the Alter Rebbe says in Torah that that's not possible. Brocha means mavriches hagefen. Whatever is already there, it's drawn down.
As the kli.
That's in your bichas koyanim. What's already the brocha is there. Yeah. It's in the bank, and they draw it down. But that is brocha. Vhatzlacha is a ganz andere Sache. Rebbe said in Yiddish, what's mamaloshen? What's a brocha? A gewünschter Mensch. What's a mutzlichlicher Mensch? A glücklicher Mensch. What's bigger? Glücklicher Mensch. That was the Yechidus. A few weeks later, at the Farbrengen, and Shabbos, connected to the Chag Giyul of Yutas Kislev, the Rebbe spoke about the Rashi and the story in the Chumash where we have the Ish Matzliach, the story of Ish Matzliach. And the Rebbe spoke about this when brought it to Tzedek. So maybe let's look inside. We'll learn the Chumash, the Rashi, the Tzemach Tzedek.
Which Ish Matzliach?
This week's parshas.
Oh, Yosef. Yeah.
Okay. So today's year is dedicated to brocha vhatzlacha. Parshas Vayshev, Chag Giyula, Yutas Kislev, Tov Ayin Ches. So let's go through quickly the story. Yosef wurde Mitzrayim v'yeknei Potifras his paris ha'tabochim mishmitzim yelashmeil mashedu shama. So Yosef is now sold as a slave. Yeshem is Yosef. The bold is obviously not from the Torah Shebeksav. The bold is the letters is that's just for the purpose of tonight's discussion. Vayhi ish matzliach. He was a ish matzliach. Vayhi beveis adonav hametzi. Vayar adonav ki Hashem itoi. His master Potifar saw that the Eibishter is with him. V'chol asher hu oisa. Everything Yosef does, Hashem matzliach biyodei. The Eibishter brings that tzloch in his hand.
Did they believe in God?
They believe in God.
Good question. Good question.
We know that Paro believed. If in the middle of the night to the Nilus, and Moshe used to come there, we tell him, don't speak
No,
Hebrew.
over here,
He didn't believe in God.
No, but he knew that God is...
Yosef told him, Kim Yanashlem Pari, he didn't believe in God. He called himself Avodah Zorah.
No, he believed in Elohim. He did not believe in Havaya.
Okay.
But he did believe in. When you speak English, it loses the ability to convey the ideas. He believed in God, but
Good. But they were parshas. They were over the Avodah Zorah because Rashi says that Moshe couldn't do the tefillah in the city because of Pari and the whole Mitzrayim was filled with the Avodah Zorah.
But why is it double lashon here? V'hi Hashem et Yosef, v'hi ish matzliach. It's the same lashon. What's v'hi Hashem et Yosef? Hashem was with Yosef.
Yeah. Good question. Let's learn Rashi. Pidush Rashi. Ki Hashem, he sees Hashem ite, Shem Shemayim Shagav B'piv. He was always talking about the Eivishter. And we'll get back to this Rashi in a minute. V'yimtze Yosef Chem Be'ene, V'yishoras Eisel Ha'ef, Kidei Al Beisav, V'chol Asher Yesh Lo Yinasam B'yodeh. So Yosef finds favor in his eyes, and he puts him in charge of his entire estate. V'yimosif Kidei Yosef Beisav, V'chol Asher Yesh Lo, V'yivorech Hashem Es Beisav Mitzvah B'glal Yosef. The Eibishter blessed the house of the Mitzvah. The word of the Moshe of Lelav was that you see in the beginning it was only vhatzlacha, and then it was brocha, because once that the house became under his dominion, so it was even bigger. Yeah. Vayazav kol asher loy biyad Yosef lo yitem ma'ume kimalachem sho'oichel v'Yosef yefei Torah v'yefei Marim. Sleep with me. He refused. How can I do such a thing? To sin to the Eibishter. She tried to convince him to sleep with her, and he wouldn't listen. No, you just turn on CBS, you hear the same story 24/7. Batanach big day etzloi al boy adornov el Vayshev v'tedaber elov kadvonim eila lemer boy lai ha'eved ha'ivre asher Vayshev lanu l'tzachik v'ikerim ikoili v'ekre v'yazev big day etzloi v'yonas achutza. So she made a libel against Yosef. V'hi cheshmoi adonis di ve'ishte v'shedibre elov lemer kadvonim eila otz v'avdecha v'yicherafen v'yikech adoine Yosef oisev yitnev v'beis hasoyer makem asher asir emelech Asurim v'yisham v'beis hasoyer v'yeshev as Yosef v'yetel of chosed v'yitechine be'enei sar beis hasoyer. So again, just like in the first time, there was a special vhatzlacha with him. The same time, again, when he's in the beis hasoyer, he has a special vhatzlacha. Vayitain sar beis hasoyer biyad Yosef eis kol ha'asurim asher beis hasoyer veis kol asher oisim shom hu yois ein sar beis hasoyer roya es kol mum biyodoi. He trusts him with everything. Asher Hashem itoi, again the same story. Hashem itoi asher hu oisei Hashem matzliach. We see that there's two differences, and however, in the two stories. When he's with Potiphar, we say that Vayara Doinov ki Hashem itoi. We don't see that in the second story. And the first time we say that Hashem matzliach biyodoi, and the second time is Hashem matzliach. So first, just a little nakuda Rashi, and then we'll go into the whole thing. Who told Rashi that Hashem itoi, Hashem Shemayim Shagav B'piv? The Ramban says he doesn't even bother to explain his question. The Ramban thinks that Rashi's pshat is so ridiculous. He just says, he quotes Rashi and he says ve'eina nida, because why vayara doinav ki Hashem itoi? What's wrong with the pasuk? His master saw He saw the Eibush was with him. What's it do with Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Piv? Yes, Shem Shemaim, not Shem Shemaim. Who told Rashi Shem Shemaim? What's bothering Rashi? And on the previous pasuk, it says also in the previous pasuk, V'yashem as Yosef. And through that, Vayish Matzliach. The next pasuk is again, Keshem Mitoy, and Hashem Matzliach B'Yodei. So why in the first pasuk doesn't Rashi say Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Piv? So the Rebbe is a word of the kavod. Simple. Someone just asked a good question. How does a goy, which is over the Avodah Zarah, know what the Eibush did? He sees vhatzlacha. If he's a goy who's over the Avodah Zarah, he should think that it's working. That's why Rashi answers that. Well, how could it be? Vayara doinov ki Hashem itoy. Who told Potifar about it? In the other story, we have Avimelech. In the story of Paroi, Avimelech, the Eibishter came to him at night. The Eibishter spoke to him. And even before the Eibishter spoke to him, there was an Eretz kosher, there was a Medina kosher, there was an oven. Obviously, their Avodah Zarah was not working for them. They were all starving to death. And comes one Yitzchak, and he plants a field, and it grows mei shonim. So anyone with half a brain in his head will realize that obviously what their God is doing something, and their gods are sleeping. Yeah, but here who's nechasim are growing? Potifar's nechasim are growing. So and the Eibusha never revealed himself to Potifar. So how did Potifar know? Ki Hashem itoy. So therefore Rashi says, how did he know? Because Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Puiv, just like we say by the brochas, and when Yitzchak hears that he talks about the Eibishter, he says, that's Yaakov, Akel Kel Yaakov, because Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Puiv. So he says, the Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Puiv, that's it. So that's why Vayara Doinov Ki Hashem Itoy. How is it Shaykh that Adonov knows from Arevana Shalom? So Rashi says, Poshet, you have to say because Shem Shemaim Shagab B'Piv. And that's why his Adonov realized every time he said, Yosef, good job. How did you manage to do that? Hey, wait a minute. I used to do that. It was always a flop. This time you did it. It was incredible. So Yosef every time told him the same thing.
Everything's b'shar.
He said, Rebbe Shalom. Everything's Rebbe Shalom. Hey, even though this guy,
probably ask him who is Rebbe Shalom.
Start telling him. So it's a bislach. It got into his head that there's a Rebbe Shalom. In the Beis HaSoyer, it's not shaykh to say that, because the keeper of the Beis HaSoyer wasn't asking him any questions. It was a pit.
No, but the question is, Potifar now knows that the Eibishter is Shagab B'Piv, and you know who is this. How come when his wife told him later on that this guy that you think that is no Eibishter and this, he's the one that tried to
do so?
And you see what people do to Shalom Bayis. You see what people do to Shalom Bayis.
No, he said he believed Yosef, but he couldn't say it because his wife shot him say it.
Shalom Bayis.
Shalom Bayis.
Oh, okay. So that's why he put him in jail and make him a manager in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the second difference. The second difference is, in the first time when he has an engagement, it's with Potifar, he's Ish Matzliach. And then it says Hashem Matzliach Biyodoi. The second time when he has an engagement with Sar Beis HaSoyer, it says Hashem Matzliach. It doesn't say Hashem Matzliach Biyodoi, Hashem Matzliach. Why the difference? So let's learn, there's a shtickle Tzemach Tzedek here. Let's first do the Tzemach Tzedek. Hashem es Yosef, Ish Matzliach. Zogt the Tzemach Tzedek, Inyan Hatzlacha. What's Hatzlacha? What is Hatzlacha? First let's define what is Hatzlacha, and then let's try to figure out how do you get that. It sounds good. Hatzlacha is a good thing. So first is what is Hatzlacha, and then how you get there. Inyan Hatzlacha. Nisker Beliezer Eved Avram Vish Mishto Aitzlich Hashem es Darkei. Nisker Sham Cain come upon him several times. The pasuk says this lashon of Hatzlacha.
What's Mishto?
Mishtoah. It says by the story of Eliezer.
Oh, the Mishtoah.
That's right. He was wondering. So that's the Tzemach Tzedek is showing you the first time, and then find in the Tanakh the word Hatzlacha. And several times in the psukim there. V'chein. So Yiyad Dvore, we say in the Tanakh, Kein Yiyad Dvore Asher Yetzi Mipiv v'Vitzliach Asher Shelachtiv. Right, they say by the time Tzibur from the Novi. So again, it's Hatzlacha. V'chein and Tehillim on Hashem Hatzlichana. So it's a variety that we have in a Chumash, in Torah, in Nevi'im, and in Ksuvim. You have this lotion of Hatzlacha. Ubeitzek HaTorah Neme BeHosheya. Ki oz tatzliach darkecha v'chein b'sefer Tehillim. It says v'hoyu keish shosol v'chol asher yasa yatzliach v'ayim b'zoy v'yeshev. Ef shaloimar, what's up shot? The word hatzlacha. So it just brings an ayah and Torah and Nevi'im Ksuvim lagabe Esak HaTorah. You have it. So what is it? The Ef shaloimar ki hatzlacha u'nyim mazel. Kamoy shekoydim, like they say in Yiddish, ish mutzlach bar mazel glik. A glücklicher Mensch. A glücklicher Mensch. Like we said before in the introduction, there's a gebenchte Mensch and there's a glücklicher Mensch. Glücklich means like everything he touches turns into gold.
Is a mazel is a sicha?
Oh, so there is a negative mazel and there's a positive mazel. We say a mazel yisrael. On the other hand, there's a big mila mazel. There's a certain different type of mazel. The Yosef is yisoid. Yisoid nikra mazel. Yisoid al pi Kabbalah is called mazel. V'ubchinas Yosef v'chemashma ha'inyan v'zoyer tchilas daf kuf pei aleph b'chula begina hu mazla the noge v'nofge v'schaber b'hu darge li yishtalom mabei, that in the darge of Yosef HaTzadik, which is Yisoid, is connected to mazel. Why, as I'll say soon, that Yisoid is a very deep thing, just like V'gashmi is a human being. The midah of Yisoid is very, very deep, and it goes straight into the brain. The same thing that in the Sfidus, Yisoid goes straight into the crown. Okay, kula b'mazla talga, bone chayim zoyne. That when it comes to making a good living, it could be a smart aleck, it could be dahina machnushken geld. And there's a bal mazel, there's a glückliche mensch, everything it turns into gold. It's higher than understanding. It's mazel. Hine a mazel hu bekesser. Mazel is in Kesser. V'yadua gamkin shesheiresh hayisoid nimshich ma'akesser. That the yisoid is very deep. The yisoid goes all the way into Kesser. Al derech keila yinkoina hakel mashkosa bebir al posek elamasei. Look in the Torah oir bebir al posek chogra beis mesnea. So v'hi Hashem es Yosef. That the Eibishter, because the Eibishter was with Yosef. What's up shat? Rotzelam be Yosef shu yisoid nimshich ha'akesser. Because in Yosef there's a connection to the Keser. Velochein vayish matzliach. Velochein nisker hatzlacha gam gab sheyered hageshem v'hir v'kekem v'tzliach. Ki hageshem zo yeridas mayim dechurim shenimshech hadesoid. The geshem here is referring to the tip of the zocher that's just coming through the yisoid. So again, the yisoid is connected to the deepest place, just like a person. Then when he has to lower a tipa for a child, it has to come from the brain and it has to go through the midah of Yisoid. Zayuven, Void Yuven Zel, Derech Mashkosav, Adur, Derech Hashem Tzlecha, Vinyan Kihem, Mekabel, Mchenach Erech, Apayim Lefonov. Sometimes you have Hashem to have a tzlacha because they jump over, they skip the line. They skip the line. The tzaddikim lacha standing in line. They skip the line. Shalomayla matzim tzum koshkosim b'toyra oyer du masla b'shalach pari shengit b'chens yankiv shem mekabel al pi chochma yesh b'din. He's standing in line. He doesn't skip. Achay deisek ha'toyra v'amitzvus asher im loiver etzoy nekach loitzer etzoy nekach etzkan v'kam meshum shech mepnimius arich ampim l'chein ki oz tatzliach es derkecha. When a yid at fourth, when a yid is through Eisek HaTorah, fakert, he's matzliach more than the Rishonim. Vezo ona Hashem, we ask the Eibishter hatzlicha no. The sheshorish hatzlacha v'mazla the arich ampin shmisham bo hashefa b'mehirus. It comes gewalt, express. Like the Koyanim, the express train, the brocha of the Koyanim. Bli kuvim v'dinim k'meshkosabal k'utetorah parshas koyrach al posik v'yigmal shkedim shezoynim bichas Koyanim. The express train. Gegangen schnell, brought straight down. Mavakshim shegiluze begdusha lekizdaf not to the Rishonim that skipped the line. Zesh kosa b'Yosef vayhi ish matzliach, and that's the pshat b'Yosef HaTzadik was ish matzliach. Okay. So now we know what hatzlacha. Now that we know what hatzlacha is, a glicklich. It comes all the way, he doesn't deserve it. But he touches from Erech Apayim, from Arich Ampin, from Keser, and therefore he had the mazel more than he deserves, because Yesoi touches in the Keser, and everything he touches turns into gold. Okay? Sounds very good. Now how do we do it? Like the Chassid went to the Rebbe. Ona Hashem. How do we kricharayin into Ona Hashem Matzlichana? How do you make it happen? So the Mela, there's two things how you make it happen. In general, how does a Yid make it happen? Poshet. A Yid has to know that the Keli of vhatzlacha is like it says in that same Novi Yeshaya, in that same Haftorah, that the Eivisha says, "Vel ze abit el oni unechei ruach." Oni unechei ruach. When a Yid has bittul to the Eivishter, so b'meila, that is the Keli. That is the Keli. When the Yid has bittul to the Eibishter, that is the Keli.
But the Yid has to know kol man she'avid rachamana letav avid.
That is the Keli, yeah. Like the story that the Rebbeim of Peshischa went in with all the other Talmidim to the Choiz of Lublin after Rosh Hashanah. Every Rosh Hashanah they would go, and he would tell them exactly what was the Dinu Mishpat for them for that year. He would tell them straight out of the book. Out of the book. So Rebbeim, it was his turn, and he went in. So he told them this year, he was a very rich man. That was before he became a Rebbe. But he was a very wealthy man, and he was also a very mefunik. He said, this year you're losing all your money. You're going to be an unni ve'evi. Kachavi came back home, his wife was sick. He had a fortune of money to spend, and he spent it all to heal his wife.
Who is this?
The Rebbeim of Peshischa. He was the Rebbe of all the Rebbes, like all the Polish Rebbes. Everyone goes back to the Rebbe Rebbeim. The Rebbe Rebbeim is like, the father of all Rebbes. And Rebbe Rebbeim, before he was a Rebbe, he was a businessman. He was a wealthy businessman, but he was a Talmud Choizer. He was a sharp fellow, very, very sharp, shrewd fellow, very smart fellow. He used to come to the Choizer, and they saw the Choizer said it happened. He lost everything. From Agvir Ader, he became Uni Ve'evi. The Rebbeim of Peshischa. Rebbeim of Peshischa. What's tut man? So he didn't have what to eat. So he said, you know what, I'm going to go to Varsha. Varsha, there's a lot of business. There's business happening. Peshischa, there's nothing happening in Peshischa. So he said to his wife, I'm going to go to Warsaw. We'll try to do some business. But if he comes to Warsaw, he schleps in, like a schlepper. He's not going to get any business. So he checks into the nicest hotel, and the Kemaisa Gvir, and he shows up in shul. He's good. He's very busy. In the meantime, he's taking loans and loans to pay. He can't afford to eat, but he's scared that people are going to look that this guy is a schlepper. He's eating in the corner bagel store. So chas v'sholom, he eats supper every night. He has steak and chicken and the best restaurant. He's a rich man now in time. He's busy. He's doing business. The Vaila, he can't. He took out so many loans that he's rolling loans. He's there already 3 weeks. He's thinking what kind of chil Hashem is going to be. By the time he can't keep rolling any more loans, he's taking from Peter to give to Paul. He's taking from Yankel and giving to Chaim. So what's going to happen at the end? There'll be a moedik chil Hashem, a Talmud the Choiz Lublin. He doesn't know what to do. So it was after being there close to a month, and he gets a knock on his hotel door. They want to know what he wants for supper. The Wilhelm Indik or the Fleisch. He wants steak or he wants chicken. So he said, don't bother me. And he started to cry. And he cried for a very, very long time. He didn't know how long. And all of a sudden there was a knock on the door. In Varsha then there was a famous woman, Tamaralin. So she sent her shliach. She heard, and Rebbeim was a very sharp fellow, and she heard he was in town, and she said he should run her business. She was opening up a new business. He should be the CFO. So, and she promised a very nice salary.
Lumber business.
So it gesagt to Rebbeim himself, hey. The Rebbeinu Shalom answered my prayer. I'm not selling it for Nazid Adoshim. I'm not selling it for nothing. No. He said, look, I'm very busy these days. This is not an offer for me. If she wants to do a partnership with me 50-50, I'll think about it.
Wow.
So the shliach went. She went back to Tamaralin. She was so angry. She said, "Forget about that. Don't even go back. Don't even answer him. Don't even answer him." In the meantime, he's waiting, and he had betochen already. If he saw that the Eibishter is already sent the Yeshua is coming. And this lady tried, and she couldn't find someone. She said, forget it. The heck with it. She sent the shliach, said, bring him, let's it, forget about it, let's it, we're doing the business. So he went into partnership with her, became wealthy again. Next year he came to the Chayza. As soon as he came to the Chayza smiled, the Chayza said, aber von der Tränen hat man nicht geschmiest. Von der Tränen hat man nicht geschmiest.
When you cry.
The crying, nicht geschmiest. We didn't talk about your crying. I was telling you just azai, how the year is going to go. Without the crying. I didn't know you're going to cry. I didn't know you know the trick. Von der Weinen hat man nicht geschmiest. So that's what happens when a Yid is oni unechei ruach, bittul to the Eibishter, that opens up a window to vhatzlacha.
So basically, emunah. You have to have an emunah, but in such a way that you have to be on the...
Like Rebbe. You got to believe in yourself.
No, but you have to be in the lowest point of your life that you have to give up everything, right?
Yeah.
You hit rock bottom, then you can go
But at this point, when he saw that the Rebbe Shalom was giving vhatzlacha, he was strong.
So that's bitochen.
But it's much harder to have bitachon when you're all the way down.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
up there you have bitachon.
That's when you can have the
No, so what's
So what is the two steps when it comes to a person like a Yosef HaTzadik who was sold as a slave? A slave, you know what a slave is? Nebach. He was sold as a slave. And then what was worse, he was put in prison. A slave, Alpidin, there's such a concept of there's a Maise, he does something. The Rebbe Kochte was in this idea, the Rebbe had this thought that we don't find that there should be a jail. There's no such thing a jail in Torah. Guy steals, can't pay back, peasant goes to slave market, sell him as a slave. Again, the income is there to pay for his azekis, for his gnevis. But a jail, prison, can't get from a prison. Why? It's not cost effective. That's my. No. That's not the Rebbe's word. The word is that prison is against the plan of creation. Every human being was made l'omul yulad. A human being was made to be active, to contribute, to produce, to make. What's the mice in the prison? So the guy is a parch, so whip him. The guy it doesn't help to whip him, sell him as a slave, give him hard labor. But a prison, there's no such thing as a prison. A prison breaks a person. In other words, it's useless. Prison is nothing. It's nothing to contribute.
Rabbi,
it's nothing to give.
I was 3 weeks in prison in the army. It was my best time in my life.
You were locked up or you were in prison?
Because
I was an officer.
Yeah, and if they kept you there for 3 years, you'd be a bucky b'shas.
An officer, they don't send a regular soldier to work in the field. You know, usually in the laundry, in the kitchen. I was the whole day. I have books there and sit down and learning. Some officer has a TV. I had my best time in my life. The whole day learning.
Yeah, if they kept you there for 3 years, you'd be a bucky b'shas.
Right.
But 1 second, but the story that you brought up on the shash, is it, what's the vhatzlacha?
Oh, 1 second, 1 second.
I'm trying to, that's what I'm trying to...
What happened is, when Yosef HaTzadik was an Eved, so he took it to heart, and he became an Eved Hashem. So when he was an Eved Hashem, he had this incredible thing that he had vhatzlacha. But the lower level vhatzlacha, the person can have 2 levels. Sometimes you see a person that they have incredible success. Whatever they do, it's good. It's going good. And then you see people that it's not stop. They're hardly doing anything. They just about touch something and it turns into gold. So there's 2 levels in vhatzlacha. Yosef HaTzadik When he was an Eved, and he decided to be an Eved Hashem, so there's Avdus requires accepting the yoke of Hashem. There's a certain bittul, but it's not the deepest bittul in the world. So therefore he was Zocher to be Matzliach. But what can the Matzliach? Hashem Matzliach biyodoi. He's doing it, and you can see that he's doing it, but whatever he does is Tzlacha in is what he's doing. And then when he was Nebuch in jail, and he was even crushed to the strongest degree, so then the bittul to the Eibishter must have been even stronger. So then his devotion to the Eibishter was stronger. So it wasn't Hashem Matzliach biyodeh. It was Hashem Matzliach. The first time was that he was doing, you could see what he's doing, and you could see that in his hands there's a tzloch of the Eibishter. The second time around, it was so powerful, it was Hashem Matzliach. First time was Hashem Matzliach biyodeh. A guy, any business he goes into, it's going good. But there's another guy, he hardly touches anything. He's just about, there's some people in this world, they're coming out, but not all the base medish. This guy gives him an offer, another guy. Mamish, you see, in Mamish, it's the red carpet is pulled out for them, rolled out. So this is what happened. The first time was Hashem Matzliach b'yodah, the second one was Hashem Matzliach. And this parsha is a sichos with the Chag HaGeula, because we see by the Alter Rebbe says the Rebbe that this thing that the Alter Rebbe had incredible vhatzlacha. And the Chassidim tell many stories about, and if you look in the Beis Rebbe, at first the Alter Rebbe was so scared that when they brought him to Petersburg, they put him on a boat. The Alter Rebbe didn't know where the boat is going. The Alter Rebbe thought that they probably want to drown him, or maybe they want to bring him somewhere like the Russians know how to do, stick someone on a little island where they die. And the Alter Rebbe, with tears flowing from his eyes. That's how dire the situation was. When they finally came to the Tainus of Vet, or whatever it's called, Preplavlovsky, Peter Paul Fortress. The Peter Paul Fortress was the most renowned prison in its day. Only big miyuchosim ended up in that prison.
Kings.
Yeah.
King. From the king
the
traders.
The Al Capone ended up there.
It's a one-way prison.
So Alter Rebbe wanted to know if the ticket here is a one-way or there's also two-way tickets. So the Alter Rebbe, how's he gonna find? So he asked the guard, "What do you get paid for yearly, annually?" So a guard understands. The Alter Rebbe was very shrewd over here. So he says he gets paid 25 ruble a year. The Alter Rebbe says, "That's not a lot. How about the people that leave the jail? Are they ever kind to you and give you a tip afterwards?" So he says, "Some do, some don't." So the Alter Rebbe said, the Alter Rebbe said, in other words, some people do get out of this place. There is a few stories that are told in the Beis Rebbe. The Beis Rebbe is considered very reliable. One of the stories is that the Alter Rebbe made an incredible impression on the interrogators. One of the interrogators was a high-ranking officer, and he was also a religious man. And the first time he met the Alter Rebbe, he asked him if he could ask him about a question in the Bible. This is a well-known story, but I want you to listen to it because there's an interesting twist that the Beis Rebbe has to it. Not a twist, a pshat. So he said to the Alter Rebbe that he has a quit. Alter Rebbe said, fine. He said that when Adam Rishon sins and the Eibishter finally confronts Adam Rishon, the Eibishter says, Ayeka, where are you? The Eibishter doesn't know where he is. So Rashi says, the Alter Rebbe said that Rashi, he said, I know already what Rashi says. I want to hear what you have to say. The Alter Rebbe asked him, do you believe that everything in the Bible is true and relevant in every single generation? So he said, yes, I believe. So Alter Rebbe said, if that's the case, I can give you an answer. So there's the footnote of the Beis Rebbe. It's interesting to hear the way Chassid thinks. Why did Alter Rebbe ask him such a question? Do you believe that the Bible is true? Okay. Otherwise, it's stam gehakt a chaynik. But why does he have to believe that the Bible is relevant in every generation? Because that is the Torah of Baal Shem Tov. And by him saying that he agrees that the Bible is relevant in every generation, which is really nimshach from Ashgocha Protis, so that's the Torah of Baal Shem Tov. The Alter Rebbe is in jail because of the Torah of Baal Shem Tov.
And he didn't.
So he's.
You put him on a circle.
So therefore, the Alter Rebbe was very happy. So the Alter Rebbe said, "The pshat is like this: that a person lives in this world for." He said a certain amount of years, 64 years, and 3 months, and 22 days, and 13 hours. And the Rebbeinu Shalom asks him, Ayeka, where are you? What are you doing in this world? I gave you 64 years, and this amount of days, and this amount of hours to live. What did you accomplish in your lifetime? The Alter Rebbe said the exact amount of days and years that this guy was alive. So this guy saw that there was Poshat, a Chochma Lakis. You can guess a guy's age, around about 60 or 60, but I know exactly which. In other words, Alter Rebbe knew his date of birth.
Exactly time of birth too.
So Ibazoi, he realized that this was Mamash Chochma Malakis. So he said to the Alter Rebbe, I want to do something for you. What can I do for you? Alter Rebbe said, there's one thing I would like very much, and that my family should know that I'm alive. How would they know? So he said, how can I...
This is the guy when he got released, he stepped into his apartment? No.
No. This was a goy. This is a different story. So he said to the Alter Rebbe, he wants to do him a favor. The Alter Rebbe said, I want my family should know. So how can I do it? He said, well, you have a lot of enemies. I know among the Jews there are people that
hate you.
They hate you. So I'm gonna bump into the wrong Jew. I'm gonna get you into bigger trouble. The Alter Rebbe said that my brother-in-law, Rabbi Yisrael Kozak, asked me when I was arrested which I told him he should go to Petersburg. It's avada that he listened to me, and I know that when I saw him then, he was walking with slippers, with a kapota, with a gartel, and with the ayah hitl. I don't know what the ayah hitl means, but whatever, some type of hat. And Alter Rebbe said, I'm sure he's still walking around the streets of Petersburg exactly that way. So if you see someone that looks that way,
you can talk to him.
So this fellow on his way home, he's driving in his slowly. It's like saying you find a needle in a haystack. The city of New York, Petersburg is a huge place. So he bumps into him. So he pulls over. He says, "What's your name?" Now, since the Alter Rebbe told him to go as a chassid, he went immediately. He never went home to pick up his passport. But there's no going to Petersburg without a passport in hand. So Vostokman. So one of the chassidim gave him already a passport on loan. So, he has to say the name if the guy's going to ask him to pull out his papers. So he said his name.
Pedigree.
So he said the name, and the guy realized it's not. The Alter Rebbe said the name Yisrael. He says, you're a liar. He didn't want to say anymore. He's a liar. You're a liar, and he just left. So Rabbi Yisrael, that night when he met with the Askonim, the chassidim, he told them this strange encounter. So they said, it sounds very good. It sounds really good. Tomorrow, your job is to just walk the streets of Petersburg. That's you just keep on walking. There's something's good is happening. It's cooking. And the same thing next day when this fellow showed up and interrogating the Alter Rebbe. So he said, I tried, and this guy, it looks like you. The Alter Rebbe said, I told you he listened for sure, and he left right away. So that means he never went home to get his passport. So obviously he can't tell you his real name. But if you go today, I'm sure he's going to tell you his real name. Kachava. That he met Yisrael, and this time he realized that he should tell him his real name. I mean, the Alter Rebbe realized that this is what's going to happen. So he said, my name is Yisrael. So the fellow was riding slowly till he came to his house. He went into his house, and he threw a melon out the window. In the melon, there was a note. So he took the melon, he disappeared, and he went back to the HQ of the Chassidim, and they opened up the melon. There was a note from the Alter Rebbe. It said, the Alter Rebbe just wrote, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So mainly they knew the Alter Rebbe was alive. And furthermore, then this fellow the Alter Rebbe refused to eat. And the Alter Rebbe, he asked the Alter Rebbe he thought that the Alter Rebbe was on a hunger strike. The Alter Rebbe was going to kill himself. So the Alter Rebbe he said that so suicide is chayiv b'din shemayim. The Alter Rebbe said, I don't care, I will not eat treif, but if you get me kosher food, I'll eat it.
Wait, he said to the Alter Rebbe that you're not
committed
allowed,
suicide.
and you're not allowed to pitoyra. How does he know?
He was a scholar, you see that. So the Alter Rebbe said, if you get me kosher food, I'll eat it. However, only if you personally bring it to me, I'll trust you. That he said, what do you want to eat? And Alter Rebbe said he was fasting already for a very long time. And the Alter Rebbe said he can't eat anything. There's a Yiddish Meichel called Angemachts. What that is, basically, is you take a blender and you put in, or not a blender, you take tznoim, radishes, and you rub them, like you do for the kugel. You grate it like you grate the potato kugel, and you put in a little salt and pepper and honey, and mix it. I was never served this dish. Must not be that great of a dish. In our house, they serve ice cream for dessert, not angemacht. So he came to the Mordechai Lepler, who was a wealthy merchant, and he happened to be one of the Alter Rebbe. He said, "Could you bring me kosher angemacht?" And Mordechai realized, it's a goy. What is someone to do with the tainus of it? Need angemacht. So he realized it was from the Alter Rebbe. So so he wrote a note and put it under the food. He knew that the guy is not going to touch it, because if he touches it, the Alter Rebbe is not going to eat it. So Kachava, there was notes going back and forth. The Alter Rebbe was able to. The first note the Alter Rebbe wrote, the Alter Rebbe just wrote 3 words: "Send the man to Vilna." So Kachava Chosn went immediately to Vilna, and that was a linchpin to that sloch of the Alter Rebbe. It was a long story about Alter Rebbe they asked the Alter Rebbe to write all the answers of all the questions. It shouldn't just be verbal, it should be recorded. And the Russian government had major bureaus of censors. Today, Mashemtzach, but the Russians then, there was official in Vilna, there was official office of censorship. So they sent it to the censor in Vilna to make sure that the translation is correct. And this chassid that was hanging out in Vilna heard that the Misnagdim had a yad achas with the censor to just change a few words here and there to make the Alter Rebbe's answers look a little chutzpahdik. So that chassid went and he spoke to the censor. He turns things around that in a way that was a tzlocha for the Alter Rebbe. He translated it correctly. There was a Chag Geula. So the Rebbe says that we see, and even the guards were able to see the Chochma Lakis, because they wanted people to be disoriented, so they didn't know the difference of day and night. They would make them sleep by day. They'd make them think that day is night, night and day. They just wanted them to be samish. But the Alter Rebbe, they asked him, it's the middle of the night, why are you not sleeping? So he said, what are you talking about? It's the middle of the day. So they said, who told you? The Alter Rebbe said, I know exactly the time, I don't need a clock. Because there is 12 tzirufim Shem Havaya by day, 12 tzirufim Shem Elakim by night, so I know exactly the time, I don't need a clock. So Mela, there was an incredible respect to the Alter Rebbe. Like the Alter Rebbe wrote to his friend, the Balafloa. So the Alter Rebbe had that tzlocha, just like Yosef HaTzadik had that tzlocha, the Alter Rebbe had that tzlocha. And the tzlocha itself...
You had correspondence with the Balafloa?
Yeah. And right after, there's a famous, apparently all the time, but there's a famous letter that he wrote to the Balafloa right after he went out of jail, when he had the Chag Geula. He wrote them the holy shtalshus of everything that happened, and all the nissim, and all the nefloas. So Mela, the Alter Rebbe had atzlocha, and in that tzlocha itself, there were 2 dargas in that tzlocha. There is that tzlocha that immediately, that when he came to prison, he was able to capture the heart of goyim, who were not the sweetest goyim. We're talking about, they're not very sweet people here. Think about all kinds of, goyim that are. That's it. That's the way these people were, and they were taken by the kedusha of the Alter Rebbe, Just like Yosef HaTzadik. And Yosef HaTzadik, who do you think Potiphar was? Epes HaTzadik or Potiphar was Epes HaHalbe Rebbe, it genommen Kvittlach. Who was Potiphar? And who was the Sar? Who was the Sar Beis HaSoya in Mitzrayim? Some nasty Egyptian. If he lived today, and you saw him on the street, you'd cross the street, you'd walk on the other side. And Yosef HaTzadik took Chaim because they saw godliness, they saw Kedusha in him. And the Alter Rebbe, we see that's what happened by the Alter Rebbe. In the Alter Rebbe, there was two dargis in that vhatzlacha. First was that vhatzlacha, that he was able to capture the hearts of the Russians that took them into captivity. And then the second vhatzlacha was that he gained his freedom. There was a Chag HaGeula.
So that's
so Memela, that was the double vhatzlacha.
This is still not a brocha.
That's right. The Rebbe says that's the difference of brocha and vhatzlacha. That vhatzlacha means that something that I don't deserve and it's not in the bank. It's not in the bank. It's not in the heavenly bank. Brocha means it's in the heavenly bank. It's there. Elamai, it's drawn down. Vhatzlacha is something that's not there. It's not in the bank. I don't deserve it. It's not coming to me. Like the story with Lebinim. Av the Terren menish geschmiest. This is something menish geschmiest. The books are all written and signed, and the deal was all done. That's brocha. You bring down whatever is in the books. But that vhatzlacha is menish geschmiest. It's not in the books. But a yid is matzliach. The Yosef HaTzadik, which is Yesoid, which is Keser, and how does a yid get it? Through onion and chayruach, through bittul to the Eibishter. Bittul to the Eibishter doesn't have to mean, it could be many, it doesn't have to be poor. It could be wealthy betachlis, and be bottled to the Eibishter. And that is the key to vhatzlacha. The key to vhatzlacha is not who you know, and it's not what you know. It's the bittul to the Eibishter. It's to know the Eibishter. And when the Yid is on in a Cheruach, like the Binim Peshischa, and like the Alter Rebbe,
use it for his,
so the Mela Yid becomes a Baal vhatzlacha. And the Alter Rebbe said, and the Friedrich Rebbe tells it, that the Alter Rebbe was told from Shemayim that now that he had a victory, he had a Chag Geula, that he should know that whenever there's going to be those that are his Talmidim and his Mekushorim, and they're going in his footsteps, whenever there'll be an issue that Torah and Yerushalayim and Midas Toivas, that the Chasidim will always be matzliach. The one gis is, there's two gisos. One gis is Yad HaChasidim Al Yon, and the other is that the Chasidim will always be matzliach. So l'chaim, that all of us should have a Chag HaGeula, and we should have brocha vhatzlacha. L'chaim, brocha vhatzlacha.